Today's video is focusing on Power Automate and Dataverse. In particular, a customer came to us and they were getting 2 million records from SAP every week. And they had one column that could affect a pick list in their model-driven app. And so they wanted to take a distinct list of values from this column and make sure that every one of those values was in their model-driven app pick list, their choice set in Dataverse. And so what this flow will do is it'll take each one of those values, and if they don't already exist in that list, it will add them automatically. Let's take a look at it. And so here's my product list. It's a choice set in Dataverse. It's called cat product list, and it's got these 4 values, which probably look pretty familiar to you. And what the flow is going to do is it's going to take a manual trigger. Now, in reality, this would be tied to some other trigger based on data, but just to isolate this, we're going to use a manual trigger. It takes 2 things: the name of the choice set, and then the actual value that we're checking to see is in there. This variable is the base URL of the environment. And we need that because we use HTTP to call the Global Option Set Definitions API. And what this does is this returns a list of all of the option sets filtered for our choice name. In our case, cat product list is what we'll feed in. That data set looks like this: Global Option Set Definitions filtered for cat product list. And we see here the options. Now, options sets, the old name for choices, have localized labels, and these could be many languages here as you add languages to your model-driven apps, because model-driven apps and Dataverse support that localization inherently. And then we have user-localized label as well. And you can see here, here's our label we really care about: Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents, and so on. So this API call is going to return that, and then through parse.json will give us an easier way of accessing that in our flow. Now, I took the schema here and trimmed it down, so it's not a schema that represents the full data set. I just really extracted the parts that I care about, because that makes everything later in the flow easier, right? I don't have things like label and language code all duplicated. I only have the ones I care about. And then using that, I use filter array to filter out the options from this. That's options up here. And then I filter out where the label, user localized label, and so that's confusing, but what it is label, user localized label down here. That gets us to the text we care about, the actual product name in this case. And we're saying, okay, is that equal to the choice that we're trying to add? What was fed in at the top of this flow? That's going to filter out this array, and then it's going to give us something that either has 0 entries, which means this item wasn't in the list already, or more than 0, probably just 1 item. And if it has more than 0, then nothing's going to happen, because that item was already in the list. If we get 0, then that item wasn't in the list and we're going to add it. We're going to add it using an unbound action. An unbound action allows you to call the Dataverse API, and there are bound and unbound actions. Unbound ones aren't tied to any particular entity or table. And a global option set could be used on multiple tables, so it is an unbound action. Now we're going to call insert option value. It's documented here at this URL, and what it does is this then adds a new value to our option set, or our choice set. It requires only a couple parameters. One is the name of what we're putting in, so the name of the list, which is our cat product list. And then we need to set the label. Now, label requires this structure, and this structure here matches exactly what we see returned here, right? So label has this structure, a localized label array. And so we're putting in a localized label array of just a single element. It has the label that we want in and its language code. I'm working in US English, it's code 1033. We could see that same 1033 returned from the API here. And then what that'll do is that'll add the value. So let's test it out. So my list is called cat product list. So we'll put in the cat product list, and then the choice label. Let's see, we've got Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents. Let's do Power Telepathy. Could be coming, we don't know. And we'll run the flow. Now this is going to check to see if that was already in the list, and it wasn't. And then it's come filter, our filter array is empty, so it didn't find it in our option set. And so it comes down here and it performs an unbound action to insert that value. And here we can see it was successful. In fact, we can see the new option set value it was given. And so now if I come back to my product list, we see Power Telepathy has been added to our list. Now let's try adding one that already exists. In fact, let's just try adding Power Telepathy again. So we'll come in, we'll run the last run here with Power Telepathy. And here we see everything's green checks. And in this case here, the filter array did return Power Telepathy. So it found that it was already in the list and it took the no path, which means it didn't do anything. So this is a short example of how you can use Cloudflows to maintain a choice list, which could be useful in this case for this customer, taking SAP data that was coming in and making sure that they had a distinct list of values that matched between SAP and Dataverse.